All right, here we go. Take two. Welcome. Here's studio. Figured I'd give you a little rundown of where I work and what I'm working on before critique tomorrow to give you a bit more context. All right, so welcome to my studio. I'm here in the basement of a 100-year-old house in the traditional lands of the Tla'amin people in the town site of so-called Powell River. And this is very close to the old village site that was formerly here called Tishwat. And I am of Dutch settler heritage. My grandparents on both sides moved from the Netherlands after the Second World War. And so they moved here for a better life, but also I believe to leave and flee the ghosts of the colonial war that both of my grandfathers participated in Indonesia, and that brought us here. And it's important to me to sort of continue to sort of reflect on those stories and that heritage and history in the work that I do in some ways. And so I've been here since about 2018 with my partner, and in that time I've largely been working as a teacher and not spending a lot of time in the studio. So now that I have some time, I've noticed that there's quite a bit of backlog. And so I want to share some of the streams that I'm kind of working on that have maybe been trickles, and I'm hoping to get flowing a little bit more through this program. So the first one is thinking about forged pigment, which I've talked a little bit about, but to see some of that, this is kind of what I'm working with on these ink drawings that I'm doing. So this is watercolor. I'm also using walnut ink, and these are verdigris, which is essentially copper sulfate, which like pickling old copper that we find, and coreopsis flowers, so this is a lake extraction, and then ochre, which we're finding on this is soil that we're finding. It's called Timuth in Ayajutham, the indigenous language here. So it's the sacred earth. And so that's important to me to kind of bring that into my work, and that helps me to ground myself in the place that I live and work. And more that's becoming part of what I'm working on, and the large drawings that I'm doing. I'm exploring that as a medium. I've spent 2 years making a lot of pigments and extracting a lot of pigments, but I haven't made a lot of work with them. And so now I'm doing that. So that's kind of the first stream. As I've sort of thought about the backlog and the work that has not been done, a lot of that is sort of memory of since I've been a father, and sort of thinking about that with some of the memories of times that I've spent with my children, and haven't been able to make art about that. And so now, thinking about some of those things, I would even think about it at the time. I would think like, oh, what's happening right now should be a painting. Why haven't I seen that? So now I'm kind of working on some of those ideas. Some of them are a little more dreamscape oriented, and sort of, in working through imagery and sort of dealing with my grief at the loss of my father. Paintings or drawings that sort of reflect that loss and are just unpacking that in imagery. Others that are just sort of dealing with self-reflection, literally. Others are, and that one as well as this one, are more material driven. This is egg tempera, but using my own foraged ochres to mix with those temperas and see what I can do with them. And that's proving to be challenging just because of the physical quality of the ochre being quite gritty. Another series that I'm sort of thinking about are these paintings, which I've been working on for a long time. These are paintings that have kind of moved forward in the last few years of forest interiors from around here, and those are now I've painted them without any people in them, and now I'm interested in sort of putting figures into them. Um, Without figures, they're sort of anyone can just come to them as a sort of open space to inhabit or to occupy. And by putting figures in them, I've sort of fixed them in a story and fixed them in place, and I'm curious about what that looks like and means. I'm interested in making a dream journal. I had been working in this kind of graphic novel style a number of years ago, and I've left that off. But I'm interested in coming back to that. This is just going to be a dream journal, and we'll see what sort of comes of that. A lot of them sort of it's some subconscious unpacking of something that's interesting to see. And then finally, I'm interested in reflecting on my relationship to my father. I'm reflecting on my relationship to my children as a father. And the last piece of that is sort of like understanding my kids, how my kids understand me. So my daughter turned 6, and she got a little camera for her birthday that has a printer built into it, and that printer sort of prints little heat sensitive paper, like a little receipt printer. So it makes these rather um, cheap feeling, but very wonderful little mementos. It's called a Kidamento camera, and it's quite lovely. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but I'm curious about them as a way of being reflected upon also by my children as I'm thinking about my place as a father. I think that's all I want to share with you. Looking forward to critique on Tuesday. Take care. Ciao.